All right. You know what it is, you know who it is. We're back. So today we're talking about building a framework as a coach and why I think it's important. Let's check it out. As a coach, I think that it's very important that we have a couple of different things to really grow and get the most potential that we can out of becoming the best coach possible, right? And the most important thing I think is a framework of success. And what I mean by a framework is a system that makes you who you are as a coach, right? For me, a great coach always creates direction. And what I mean by direction is they give people the ideas, they give people the purpose, they give people the energy, the motivation, inspiration, whatever you want to call it, to move towards their goal and get wherever it is that they want to go, right? And any great coach that you find or you come across, you know those coaches. You know the ones who aren't the drill sergeants, the ones who aren't the too lax, the too complicated, right? And great coaches can have those aspects, right? But you just can't fall into one specific domain of those. And when we're talking about a great coach is someone who gets you to buy into a process, right? Hopefully their process, because that's what this is all about, but gets you to buy into their process and trust, and gets you to trust that they can get you where you want to go, right? And a great coach, to me, doesn't have the answers. And I'll say the quote unquote answers, right? Because I found in my life as a coach, as I've grown and as I've tried to get to the levels that I've wanted to get to, right? I've always tried to have the answers. And as I've grown and as I've had more opportunities and more people that I've been in front of, I've realized that having the answers isn't necessarily needed, right? But having the ideas of what you believe in and how you can actually help someone get somewhere is, right? So when we talk about the answers, to me, answers is defined as great experience and theories. What I mean by this is any great coach who you ask something to, right? And you're asking of them to get you ready for an event, get you to a specific weight, get you to a goal or an event, right? They have theories and experiences that are going to help them give you answers as to how to get there, right? They have a method that works, they have ways that work, but it's always going to change from each person and each individual that they come in contact with, right? And there's no direct right answers in coaching, but there are great theories, great experiences, which equal answers, right? And great coaches, to me, they always have, they make the complex simple, right? They're able to take these bigger, broader ideas that we come across in terms of fitness and performance, and they give us direction on how to go get them, complete them, and understand them, right? As opposed to like how-tos that you see. And I think a lot of people who struggle in fitness or struggle in coaching, they look too much to the how-tos, right? And I'm coming from a perspective as a coach myself and other coaches looking to get better, and then obviously clients and athletes looking to find a great coach and kind of how to filter out that process. And to kind of like sum this up and put this in simple terms, right? A great coach is never going to claim to be like an expert in their field or claim that they have all the answers. And I think that like a great coach is always going to be a student and someone who's continuously going to learn and continuously putting themselves in positions to learn. So with that being said, right, they're not just going to be someone who's like, I'm the expert, you got to come to me, right? They're going to be someone who's going to say, hey, I'm really good at this. I have a lot of experience, right? I've thought about a lot about this topic, and I feel as though I am very good in this field, but I'm always willing to hear feedback. I'm always willing to learn from other people. I'm continuously learning from other people, right? If you get someone who's ever just settled down in their ways, not willing to learn, that's not someone you want to be around, right? Even if they can help you, right, it'll be a very short-lived help once it goes outside their domain of influence. And a lot of people get very insecure when a lot of those types of individuals get very insecure when things fall outside of their range of knowledge, and that's where you start to get these hovering helicopter coaches, or these people who try to tell you, it's this way or the wrong way, you know what I mean? So a great coach is literally, they're just going to do what they do best, and that's help people, right? And what I want to talk about here today is the framework idea of how you can actually help people and how this process can actually become very beneficial and rewarding and help you as a coach, help your athletes and your clients. All right, so now that we got that out of the way, now we can actually talk about what a framework is, how we can utilize it, and how we can actually build our own framework to become a better coach and to better help our athletes and clients. A framework is an outline of what we follow as individuals, right? What we believe in and what we build as coaches. And this is why, as a framework, I think this is so important, because there's so much information out there today in terms of other coaches, methods, theories, all this stuff, right? And if we just take and we don't really kind of break down or understand in terms of what we believe in, it's very easy to get stagnant and not be able to progress as much as we want to, right? And I think one of the most important things as a coach is to really just be true to yourself and understand what you believe in as a coach and what you want to provide to the people that you work with, right? So to me, being successful in coaching equals having a framework, right? And going back to, like I just said, the framework is what creates us, and it's basically our language, or the way that we give out the information that we truly believe, right? And why is this important? Because, like I just said, this is what you believe in, right? This is what makes up, BGPerform. This is what makes up your brand, your company, your fitness, the things that you provide on a daily basis to your athletes. Your philosophy, your progressions, all that stuff, right? So your framework is essentially your playbook. And if you guys are familiar with sports, right, each team has a playbook, things that they want to accomplish in the game that they know is going to get them to success, right? If we really dive into the playbooks, right, they're all the same stuff. It's all the same plays, all the same routes, all the same concepts, right? What's different is obviously the language, the words, the progressions, the movements, right? This stuff is usually unique to each of us as coaches. And this is why it's important to develop this yourself, is so we have that, we can understand that as we go. And again, with the framework is our filter, right? It's our filter to take the information that we find, bring it into what it is that we do, and make it a part of us and our brand and our business. And this is very important as a coach. And I think that a lot of people overlook this aspect because, it's very easy to see things, the flashy things that we see online, and say, hey, I want to do that, I want to use it, right? But what's the context? How do you progress it? How do you regress it, right? How do I fit this into the sports that my athletes play, or the lifestyle that my clients live or want to live, right? And these are the things where the framework or our playbook, and when it's fully developed, it makes all of that so much easier, and it makes us enjoy our job more, and we're able to do what we really love, which is coaching. So after I've described this amazing framework, right, this playbook of sorts, you might ask, well, how do I develop mine and what's involved in it, right? For me, there's a few things that are involved in a playbook, right? There's language, there's movement selection, there's progression, there's design, and there's structure, right? And there's probably a few more that I'm missing, but these are kind of the main aspects that go into developing your own framework as a coach. Your language, these are the words that you use, the way you describe movements, the way you call movements, the way you name movements, the way you name flows, progressions, mobility, whatever it is, right? Whatever you believe your language is, stick with it. And that's important. And I think that I've gotten too caught up in calling things by their name, by the scientific name. I think that it's important for us as coaches to understand that side of it, right? And really dive into the specifics and the little details of each movement. But I think it's important to also break stuff down so you can explain it to somebody else. You're gonna have clients who wanna know the science, who wanna know the details, and that's the time when you can really flex your muscles, right? But to really be successful in the field, it's understanding and taking, like I said, these complex topics and breaking them down into more simpler terms for individuals to actually digest and understand and then complete. Movement selection, right? What are the movements that we really truly love? What are the movements that we believe help people the most? And what are the movements that we believe we can take and understand deep enough to get the most out of it? Right? This might be a lot. This might be the powerlifting movements. This might be Olympic lifting. This might be gymnastics, whatever it is, right? Just know what it is that you want to use. have tests for it, have progressions for it, have regressions for it, right? Which kind of gets me into my next topic of progression, regression. Know where you're going to take these things and know how you can lower them or regress them if so needed, right? Because I think a lot of times with athletes or coaches, right, when we see our athletes and we see our clients, we want them to complete stuff. We want them to get to certain points, right? But that takes time. And not every single athlete or client that's going to walk through the door is going to hop under a bar and squat perfectly, right? Or deadlift or bench perfectly, right? We have to understand where this person's at and how we're going to get them there. And with that being said, this movement selection process, the language process, the progressions process, right? All of this is going to get us there, but it needs to come from us, right? And it's okay to learn and take from other individuals, but while you're learning and taking, right, you need to actually understand what you're taking out of it and not just blindly taking and inputting into what it is that you do. And like I said, I think this is where I've succeeded as a coach, is I've been able to take things and make myself understand it fully and change it in the ways that I want to understand it, so that when the time comes, I can use it, I can progress it, I can change it, and I can get the most out of it in the best ways that I communicate with my athletes and my clients. From there, we talk about design, right? And by design, I mean, how do you structure your workouts? How do you structure your weeks? How do you structure your months? How do you structure your years, right? How do you structure your bigger program cycles? Like, what does this stuff look like to you? What are the progressions that you want to see? What are the landmarks that you want to see? What are the pieces of the puzzle that you're trying to put together for individuals, and where should they be at what points, right? You can't directly say someone's going to be March 1st, they're going to be at this, and March 12th, they're going to be at this, and March 17th, they're going to, like, that's just not realistic, right? But what we can do is say, hey, if we're following this progression right, around this time, or around this point in the program, we should be able to do this, right? And if not, that's fine. Let's figure it out. It's either something we're doing wrong, or there's a progression or something we're not following as we go through this process. And this is why design is so important, but under your level of understanding, right? If you start to take other pieces of design and you just blindly stick someone on it, you know, without either having followed it or studied it, there's a recipe for disaster there, right? We don't know when we need to stop. We don't know where we're going, how we're gonna get there. All of these things need to be understood from our point of view and how we believe in it, right? And this takes me to my last one, which is structure, right? Structure is how all of this is put together and delivered to the individual. And I think that when we talk about business, when we talk about coaching, right, I think a lot of people lack structure in many other places besides their coaching, right? But they lack structure in how to deliver a product, right? And when you deliver a product, the structure and the way that this is all packaged together and then produced is what sets each individual coach apart, right? And if you see the most successful coaches, if you see the most successful in their fields, whatever it might be, they have structure, they have organization, they have these things kind of labeled out and bullet pointed in their head, and they know who they are, right? They know the language they use, they know the movements that they use, they know the progressions and the regressions that they use, they know the design of how they're going to put all this together, and then they know the structure of how they're going to deliver and package this stuff and get it out into the world, right? And for me, right, if you're going to understand how to build your own framework, you know, it helps us to kind of take all of this into consideration and utilize it the best way that we can, right? And this helps us build out this progress, this process, right? And we get to do what we as coaches love to do, and that's coach, right? I know a lot of people, even myself, as I started in this field, it was very difficult for me to take a step back and do the business stuff, right? And get better at it and understand people. But that's the most important thing as a coach, and it helps us in the long run be able to do what we love more, which is coach. So to summarize this video and kind of bring us full circle, I think as a coach, right, frameworks are very important. And what I mean by frameworks, like I said, is the ability to take information, filter it through what we believe and follow as a coach, and then put it back out into the world, right? And to do that, we have these specific topics, which I talked about today, that we need to cover, we need to discuss, we need to break down more. And it's important. And it's very important that, because I see too many coaches nowadays with all the information out there, take and take and take and take, and never really refine or make better for ourselves. And like I said, I think that how you want to set yourself apart in the field of coaching is give what you believe in the smartest way possible, right? And if you have to also be real with yourself, because if you develop a framework and you're not getting results, people aren't enjoying it, you're not progressing, then it's a faulty framework, right? And I think that once we as coaches take responsibility, which is what I did, right? Take responsibility for the information that we take in and the information and the product that we put out, and not blame other people, right? I think a lot of people like to take from other people, because then they can say, oh, it wasn't me, it was them, right? I learned this from so-and-so company, I learned this from so-and-so person, and it just didn't work, right? When in reality, fitness has a lot of right answers, right? But there is no very directly right answer, right? A lot of things work dependent on the category that you're trying to come into. And with that being said, there's a lot of things that I've taken as a coach, and to kind of give you a little bit more background, right? Like, my fitness background has been everything: bodybuilding, powerlifting, CrossFit, martial arts, running, what else? There's probably something else that I'm missing out on, right? And I truly believe, had it not been for my experience in all of these different domains, that I would not be as good of a coach as I am today, right? And it's okay to be specific into one thing, right? But, it's hard to have an opinion on something when you haven't done it, right? I did CrossFit as high, well, not high level, but as hard as I could for 3 years, right? And, I learned so much from it. I learned ring muscle ups, handstand walking, muscle ups, gymnastic work, Olympic lifting, programming. I learned a lot of basics from CrossFit. Would I continue to do it? No. Would I recommend to do it? I don't know, it depends, right? But I've taken so much from it and learned that it was amazing, and it's helped me in so many different facets, right? I continue to do powerlifting, and I have done powerlifting cycles and, got ready for competitions. I've never competed, but I've gotten ready for competitions, and I've learned a ton from it, and it's helped me. Bodybuilding, there's so many different aspects that I've learned. Martial arts, there's so many different aspects that I learned. Endurance training and running, there's so many aspects that I've learned, right? But what I was able to do is take all of those pieces, right, and put them in the BGPerform framework, which I've developed myself, right, from all the different people that I've talked to and all the different experiences that I've had as a coach, and funnel it into the product that you guys get today, right? And, again, not to toot my own horn, but we see the results, right? We see the people who are competing at the highest level perform. We see the people that I work with on a daily basis have better lives. They're enjoying themselves. They're able to have a good relationship with food. They're able to have a good relationship in the gym. They're able to have free time and enjoy and feel and do these things, because I've been able to take my own framework from all the problems and the successes and the failures that I've had as a coach and put it into a wonderful package, right, that I like to fit to the individual, which means I don't have all the answers, right, but I have a lot of direction in which we can take the goals that people want to achieve. And with that being said, right, this is why it's important as a coach to dive into this framework and really take the time for it. This framework took me years to develop. This wasn't like I woke up yesterday and was like, boom, framework, done, and we're good, right? This is, started when I first started this process of trying to become a coach, and it's an ongoing process, right? And I'm always developing the framework, because I'm always going to meet new people. I'm always going to learn. I'm always going to try new things, right? And, as I develop this more and more, it teaches me more and more, right? And it gets me more and more away from that, oh, there is a direct answer, and more into, hey, there's a lot of stuff out there. I wonder what I can use in my framework to help my people better. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is a really important topic for me, and I definitely want to dive into this more if you guys are interested and you do want to learn. I've helped a lot of coaches so far develop their own framework and really start to dive a little bit deeper into this topic at hand. So if you are interested, reach out, And I appreciate you guys for stopping by. Hit the subscribe button, like, share, all that stuff. I gotta do my YouTube stuff, right? And I will see you guys next time. Peace.